9:02 is the time right now, but first up this morning, another scary story. Another pedestrian was struck by a car Wednesday, the second incident in as many days. This latest happened while the woman was on a crosswalk at Spring Garden and Roby Street. The car that hit her was making a turn at the time. The safety advocacy group Heads Up Halifax is wondering why are so many pedestrians hit on crosswalks. And it's discovered the most dangerous location to cross the road by far is at signalized intersections. And the group's Martyn WIlliams joins me on the phone to start off our day here today. Martyn, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning, Rick. Yes, we're HRM Safe Streets for everyone, not Heads Up Halifax.
Okay, sorry, my confusion here. But you were at one time Heads Up Halifax, were you not?
No, that was always an effort by the authorities to raise awareness around this time of the year. So we've always been HRM Safe Streets for everyone.
All right, and you've discovered again, you've done some analyzing of statistics over the last couple of years, and you've discovered that the worst place for pedestrians to cross a road is at a signalized intersection. Tell us more.
Yeah, well, by very far, the statistics have been in for a very long time, and what it showed over a 5-year period, 2012 to 2017, is that consistently it's by far the most dangerous location to cross the road, sort of about 4 times more than any other kind of location, and around 40% of all incidents happen there. So we did this awareness-raising video, which we released on Wednesday, and later that same day, the lady was hit on the very same intersection that we were shooting all of our footage. So it was kind of ominous, but not unexpected that an incident happened there because it is extremely dangerous.
So what is the problem here? Why is it that you'd think that at a signalized intersection or a crosswalk that would be a fairly safe place for a pedestrian to cross the street? So why is it not?
No, it's not at all. It is extremely dangerous, and for those that use them regularly, they will know that turning traffic often cuts through the crosswalk as you're going on your walk sign. And it's just because there's a conflict with the signals, which traffic turning right has a green light, traffic turning left has a green light, and there's also right on reds. So everybody tends to do that thing, and sometimes they kind of forget to notice pedestrians, or they think passing by them is okay, so they'll just kind of whip behind them or in front of them. And it makes it incredibly dangerous, and that's why there's constant incidents there. Yeah,
and you're putting, again, we talk about shared responsibility here, but you say this shared responsibility is more than just pedestrians, more than just motorists. You include traffic engineers and HRM counselors as part of the shared responsibility. What do you mean by that, Martyn?
What I mean is that they've got to understand that they have a responsibility, given the statistics, to make these locations safer, and that means accepting that it's not working and reducing those conflicts, so making sure that traffic is stopped when pedestrians cross. So as I've said to you before, Rick, where I'm from, we don't have those conflicts. When pedestrians walk, you don't have to worry about traffic, so you're just walking at a safe time. Here, you kind of have to look all over the place in all directions at once to be safe, and that task is too much for pedestrians, and it's also confusing drivers. So the responsibility is just to accept that there's too much risk, too many incidents, and to make things safer.
So what do we need to do then? We had a chat earlier this week with Norm Collins from the Crosswalk Safety Society, who talked about perhaps rumble strips before a crosswalk that would alert drivers to the fact they're coming up to a crosswalk, something that the city said that's not in its plans at all. But what are your thoughts on that possibility? And what else does the city need to do now in order to, rectify this situation?
Specifically with signalized intersections, it's to make sure that traffic has a red light, so red light in all directions when we cross. That avoids the confusion. I don't think rumble strips or anything like that will work there. Elsewhere, some of the most horrific incidents, I did some analysis yesterday for a meeting, I turned up at the Transportation Standing Committee meeting, and a lot of the fatalities are happening on busier artery roads, where we're crossing kind of multiple lanes of very fast-moving traffic. And there, maybe rumble strips, pedestrian refuge islands would go a very long way, as would lights. People complain about the overheads blinking lights here. They don't see them. Drivers go straight through all the time, so something clearer would help, like rapid flashing beacons or even traffic lights.
You also called for, again, a ban on right-hand turns on red lights, and that obviously is part of this whole factor as well.
Yeah, that's part of it. It's not. It is very difficult to deal with on a crosswalk. It's not causing most incidents on a signalised intersection crosswalk. That's left turns on a green, which are causing by far the most incidents where pedestrians are hit. So really, we've got to tackle this holistically. What I was saying yesterday at the Transportation Standing Committee meetings, we need a plan. We still don't have a road safety plan, a pedestrian safety plan, or whatever you want to call it. We have a road safety steering committee, and we really don't know what they're doing. Timescales are slipping all the time, and it's not addressing the fact that we've had, since January 2018, we've had 8 pedestrian fatalities, and we need to make sure we move a lot more quickly and within a plan to address this problem.
As we talked to you this morning, Martyn, a couple of emails have just come in. One from George, who says that pedestrians, he says, do not pay attention because people have a false sense of security. Pedestrians, he writes, need to pay attention. And Kirk, with something similar, he says it's because people don't wait for traffic to stop anymore. They just walk out now and hope for the best. They used to teach it, stop, look, wait, cross. But then they started teaching right of way, and now here we are. What do you say to those people?
Well, I think those principles certainly are helpful. Pedestrians are looking perhaps more than drivers think. We use our peripheral vision a lot to look for traffic that's around us. Where you've got a very simple crosswalk with 2 lanes of traffic, you can wait for all traffic to stop and go. It's a much more easy decision for the pedestrian. Where you've got 4 lanes of fast-moving traffic, or at a signalised intersection where you've got traffic in all directions which never stops, it's not really within our means to choose a safe time and cross. You kind of start crossing, hope that everybody doesn't keep moving, and often unpredictable things can happen very easily. So there isn't a way, in short, that we can protect ourselves. We do need drivers to do their part, but also what I see and what I try to bring attention to is the fact that drivers make mistakes as well. When we've crunched the traffic incident data, it's shown a very high amount of driver mistakes, and that means that we need to think about our infrastructure to make it so that crosswalks are clearer and safer for pedestrians.
But don't you think that there's something to this that we do stress an awful lot in the number of past years that has been giving the pedestrian the right of way, and some believe it's to the point now where, because of the belief here, perhaps there's a false sense of security because of that, again, constant message, the pedestrian has the right of way, that perhaps, again, that people are just stepping from the sidewalk onto a crosswalk with the expectation that cars are going to stop without looking both ways. Do you believe that is an issue?
I've not seen it, no, not where I live. I think in busier roads like Spring Garden Road, there tends to be, pedestrians are like animals. When they gather together in large numbers, they behave more aggressively and more confidently. So, sure, when you go down Spring Garden Road and busy streets where there's lots of pedestrians, you'll see a lot more pedestrians stepping out and not complying with the walk sign. I think that it's obviously really important for drivers to yield. If there's no right of way for pedestrians, it could expose us to very great danger because we can't dodge a fast-moving car on a crosswalk. So the right of way has to stay. But also, there's a law in Nova Scotia that you can't step right out in front of a driver. So if a driver's so closely approaching they can't stop, then they can't be expected to stop, obviously, for a pedestrian who's stepping right out.
Yeah.
What I will say is that the main problem I have is drivers approaching way over the speed limits on these busy artery roads, something like 20 kilometers per hour over. And for them, it is really difficult to stop, and they do screech to a halt very suddenly. And that is obviously dangerous for pedestrians, danger for the driver because they could stop suddenly and then someone could rear-end them. So that speeding does make it much more difficult.
No question. And there's been some discussion as well about perhaps a need for beefed up police presence, beefed up traffic division within the police department. Would you agree with something like that?
Well, I don't know. I know that we have a really core dedicated group of traffic cops here, and they seem to be doing really, really good work. I honestly don't think it will make a great deal of difference. If you've got very fast roads, people are going to speed. They're going to go on groups like the HRM Speed Trap Radar Warning Group on Facebook. They're going to try and outmaneuver and outwit the police. It will certainly help once we have things like automated speed radar, things like that. But I'm not sure that flooding the streets with more very expensive traffic police would make a great deal of difference.
But obviously, council needs to. There needs to be a better effort, I guess, from city council in regards to this whole question of safety on the roads.
Yeah, what I said yesterday is they need to, we were promised a road safety plan, and with that we expected very detailed explanation about what was happening where to make our roads safer for everybody, not just pedestrians, also cyclists, drivers, and that hasn't happened, and that still does need to happen. We need to have a fleshed out proper plan which is public so we all know what's happening to make our streets safer, and it means that we can have more people walking, so it reduces congestion, and it's really the direction that we should be moving in.
Indeed. Can people access this video that you put together?
Yes, they can. It is on the, I can't give you a link, but I've posted it this morning on our Facebook group, HRM Safe Streets for Everyone. If you put that in the Facebook search bar, it will come up and you can join and look at the video. And it's on the Transportation Standing Committee HRM website as well, so it's yesterday's meeting.
All right. Well, listen, I appreciate your time as always here, Martyn. Thanks very much. Have a great day, sir.
Thank you. Yours too. Thank you so much for inviting me, Rick.
All right, bye-bye. Martyn WIlliams, and he's with HRM Safe Streets for Everyone here, and they're continuing push for, again, better. It's not just for pedestrians, and it's not just for motorists. He's right in regards to, there needs to be more of an effort from HRM councillors and better planning from traffic engineers as well. Those crosswalks where everybody crosses at the same time from whatever corner you're at. Those are the kinds of things that I think would deal with some of the, especially in the downtown area and the busy streets. Those are the kinds of things that I think need to be done in order to make, again, crossing the street a lot safer for pedestrians. But a little startling to see that by far that the area where pedestrians find themselves the most victims is at signalized intersections. Coming up to 9:15 here on a Friday morning. We'll take a quick break and we'll be back with more right after this.